was wondering also, in relation to newly qualified teachers, whether you felt there was a role for the SENCO in preparing them, the newly qualified teachers, to meet with and to report to parents and carers.
Yeah, I mean, newly qualified teachers will also not have had very much training on how to work with parents. And obviously, children with special needs, it's really important that, you know, the parents are part of that whole network. And, you know, if the child's coming into year 3 or year 4 and the parent's been involved all the way through, and then suddenly a barrier is because the NQT doesn't know how to work with them, again, the SENCO needs to be supporting the NQT at that level as well.
Another thing linked to working with newly qualified teachers is that I wondered if you thought that the way that a SENCO worked with a group or an individual newly qualified teacher might have a very positive impact on them seeing the role of SENCO as a career move they might themselves want to make in the future.
One of the aspects of the work that NASEN's done over the last 3 or 4 years is research to find out, you know, sort of about the life of a SENCO. And what's really interesting is the majority of SENCOs who are in our schools currently fell into the job. It wasn't ever a career pathway for them. They were in the right place at the right time, or the wrong place at the wrong time, or somebody went on maternity leave. And so when I was working with TDA on the regulations and the national award, one of the things that I was aspiring to achieve was that it would become a career pathway for teachers. But then you realise that when teachers first come out of college, they actually have so little knowledge of SEN that, you know, it's not a career pathway. So I think that the impact the SENCO could have on those newly qualified teachers could actually be the kickstart of the future for our SENCOs. Because obviously, you know, our new SENCOs have got to come from somewhere in the future. And as a teacher, you might be thinking, well, I'm going to be a year leader, or I'm going to be a curriculum leader, or I'm going to be a head teacher, or whatever. But it would be fantastic if we had that whole group of teachers saying, I'm going to be a SENCO. And then we can plan for, you know, sort of training for aspiring SENCOs, and schools can have contingency plans for working towards what will happen when our SENCO retires or our SENCO moves on. So there are people following in their footsteps, and hopefully then it won't be such a big jump when somebody's appointed as a SENCO and actually they hadn't really realised quite, you know, how much work there was involved, because they'll have been through that process. So yes, I think the SENCO could have a real impact on newly qualified teachers in terms of the future of the SENCO role in schools.
The next question is from a primary SENCO, and again is quite long and specific. She says, as the area of SEN is continually evolving, is there a need for formal, continued professional development for SENCOs? I've really enjoyed and learnt a lot from the NASENCO course. However, I know I still have much more to learn, partly by gaining experience in the role, but I feel that further academic training would also be beneficial. However, schools don't on the whole support this, and individual SENCOs may not be able to self-fund. Also, there are no financial benefits to gaining better academic qualifications within the educational pay structure, which I feel does not encourage individuals to continue to train and learn. I wonder what your opinion is on further training and the lack of encouragement often given to staff to continue their learning.
I find it very disappointing that as a profession we are not encouraged to continue our professional development. I usually use the quote that, you know, if you were going in for surgery, you would not expect to be going, you know, on the operating table with a surgeon who has done no professional development for 20 years. But actually that could be the case in a classroom, and that really does worry me. And one of the reasons why I and NASEN really pushed for this award at that master's level was because we really felt that it would give some status to the role that the SENCO was going to have to perform in the future. So I really do feel that we should be ensuring that those teachers that want to do it, and it may not be mandatory, but I think that there is a group of young teachers coming through who want to continue with their study and want to continue, you know, getting sort of further qualification. I think the thing that we need to ensure is that that study is then impacting on their role in school and obviously consequently the performance of our children. Yeah, so it's not just about, you know, a SENCO or any member of staff getting more training. It's about it actually then having an impact on what's going on in the classroom. But I do think that, you know, as we see huge changes in the education system, in the sort of children that we're getting into the education system, the expectation of parents, we've got to make sure that we have professionals who can meet those needs. Because we cannot continue doing the same thing we've done for the last 30 years, because we have a whole different group of children, parents, and the types of schools that we're now working in, you know, are very different to the ones of not that many years ago. And so I would say that I would welcome any opportunity that there was for SENCOs to continue with their study. And I would do my best, or will do my best, to try and get funding in place for that. But then I also really do feel that we need to make sure that there is a pay structure and a remuneration structure that then, you know, is shown in the work that they're doing in terms of upping their skills and experience, so they don't just feel that they're doing it for nothing, but actually there is something they can get at the end of it that will help them.